do. Thank you. Okay, I would like to call the meeting to order for the Oregon Racing Commission. I'd like to have a roll call first to see who's here. Commissioner Barry.
Present.
Commissioner Conte.
Here.
Commissioner Beckstead.
Here.
And Commissioner Fowler.
Here.
Okay, so everyone is here, so the meeting will begin. Our first order of business is the adoption of the meeting agenda. There are two things that are not going to be taken off the agenda. They're not ready. And one is under new business, the report from the HRA. And the second one is under the Fair Meets report. The Southern Oregon Horse Racing Association report will not be given. So those two things are off the agenda. Any other changes or additions on the agenda? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as corrected?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, Commissioner Conte moves that the agenda be presented as printed or as changed. Any second, please?
I'll second.
Okay.
This is Commissioner Barry.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Barry. Okay, we've got the agenda set. The September meeting minutes were sent to you. Are there any questions about the meetings, any corrections? This was the meeting on September 21st. Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes as printed for September 21st, 2023. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Barry. Okay, all those in favor,
Aye.
Aye.
raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes of September 21st are approved. Okay, next on our agenda is old business, Executive Director's report.
Perfect timing. The ambulance just went by and it's now much quieter. I'm going to go ahead and start, but I'd like to give a little apology first because this is very long. So please bear with me as I read through this. Not necessarily apology, but warning, I guess is a better word. So Vice Chair Doherty and Commissioners, for the record, my name is Connie Wynn and I am the Executive Director of the Oregon Racing Commission. I would like to start by introducing Commissioners Fowler and Beckstead, assuming they both complete the oath of office here in a few minutes. We are very fortunate to have two additional very qualified commissioners joining us. Commissioner Beckstead is currently serving as the Director of Campaigns and Animal Wellness Action. While he owned a law firm from 1994 until 2008, he gained substantial experience in the field of animal law, including teaching the subject at the University of Oregon College of Law and Willamette University College of Law. He also co-authored the first casebook on animal law in 2000. Commissioner Beckstead also served as mayor of Walport from 2002 to 2007, and in 2008 took a position with the Humane Society of the United States, where he worked in a variety of policy director positions. In November of 2020, he accepted a position with two affiliated organizations, Animal Wellness Action and the Center for a Humane Economy, as their Director of Campaigns. A top priority for him is and always will be saving horses, both wild and domestic, from cruelty, abuse, and slaughter. Commissioner Fowler received her JD in 2001 from West Virginia University. She moved to Oregon after graduating and spent a year clerking for Circuit Court Judge Rasmussen. She began her law career as a public defender in Jackson County, Oregon, where she defended misdemeanors, felonies, Measure 11, and murder offenses. Ms. Fowler joined Beraldo, I'm going to say that wrong. Beraldo, I can't even get the name right. I'm sorry, Commissioner, you're going to have to fix that for me.
Errol Rude.
Yes, my
Errol
tongue.
Rude.
Yes. Thank you. It's a tongue twister today. And Fowler in 2025 as an associate and became a partner in 2008. 2005, not 2025, I'm sorry. Now I'm all confused after that. She provides
After the future.
she provides professional and compassionate legal representation to her clients, many of whom find themselves going through difficult and stressful situations. I lost my spot. Hang on. Lindsay's 21 years of experience only get stronger. She values her reputation and tries to create a comfortable environment for her clients. In her free time, my cursor is not working well on my computer. It's just one of those things. In her free time, Lindsay enjoys competing in 3-day eventing and riding trails with her horse, River. She is an avid animal lover, book reader, and orchid collector. Her favorite place to travel is to Belize when she can get away, and going back home to West Virginia to spend time with her family. As a child, Commissioner Fowler would go to the horse races with her father in Kentucky, which once included meeting Secretariat at Claiborne Farm. I'm so jealous. The love of thoroughbreds and racing started early and has continued to this day. She owns 2 off-the-track thoroughbreds, Triton and River. I just am not in it today. Whom she considers to be part of her family. We're excited to have both of you commissioners aboard. Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, welcome.
I would like to also welcome Russell Fine, President, Gameplay Network, Jean Chabrier, Vice President, Regulatory Affairs and Business Development from ExpressBet, Andrew Silver, Council Online Gaming Compliance from Churchill Downs, who physically came to Oregon to participate in our Fiscal and Advisory Committee meeting this morning to review and discuss proposed changes to our administrative rules for technology and approval processes. Also, I wish to thank Nelson Clements, President of Amwest Entertainments, Andrew Moore, General Manager Racing, FanDuel, and Linnell Fox Smith, Executive Director for Otoba, for participating in the meeting. We have an additional Fiscal and Advisory Committee meeting next Monday on hub funds. Both committees will result in rules that we will be bringing to the Commission hopefully in November. The commercial meet at Grants Pass has concluded their fall meet. In general, it was a very successful meet. Our purses were good, the track service was amazing, and the horse people were in good spirits. With that said, we did have some sad news to report. 4 horses suffered injuries that resulted in them being euthanized. The injuries occurred on 2 separate dates of the meet. The first occurred when the horse named Queen Breezy broke his cannon bone, and Beta Rouge, the horse behind Queen Breezy, collided with him and broke her shoulder. This incident also resulted in a jockey sustaining a head injury and was transferred to Medford Hospital ICU for further care. The jockey has now been released and is in recovery. Another jockey suffered a minor injury. On the final day of racing, Jesse After Midnight and Phantoms Brook sustained fetlock breaks on separate races. The Oregon Racing Commission has launched comprehensive investigations into all incidents. We're actively collaborating with experts, veterinarians, industry stakeholders to determine the cause of these tragic incidences. Once we have comprehensive understanding of the cases, we can propose measures to prevent further occurrences. The management team at the Horse Racing Association, who oversees the races at the commercial race meet, is fully cooperating with this investigation. And my cursor went up again. The Oregon Racing Commission remains dedicated to ensuring that Oregon racing industry is safe and humane environment for both horses and participants, and will make any necessary changes to make sure this is the case. As I mentioned during the last commission meeting, Dr. Everman, Presiding Stewart Twiggs, Chief Investigator Adams, and I have been discussing medication rules and track safety. In addition, I have asked and met with all staff for additional ideas and suggestions and strategies. We will be bringing several recommendations to the commission at the next medication and safety meeting. Some of the ideas that we are considering recommending include, but are not limited to, changes in our medication rules and procedures for starting gates, additional pre-race research on the history of the horses arriving and entering our races, additional security, revamping our training testing, review and additional recommendations for safety training for jockeys, starting gates, and outriders, additional training opportunities for our staff, consideration of technology solutions that can better assist with early identification of possible injuries, anonymous tip lines, increased training time for the equine athletes, review and update of emergency procedures for environmental issues such as recent AQI policies that were implemented, plate inspection, and discussion on track surface types. In other news, Vice Chair Doherty and I presented at the House Committee on Gambling, and I felt the presentation was very well received. We continue to work with the governor's office on the governor's initiatives and are currently focused on staff feedback, succession planning strategies, customer service training, and our strategic plan. Finally, I will be on vacation from October 25th through November 10th. I will bring my phone with me, but cannot guarantee I will be able to access email. In case of something requiring immediate attention, please coordinate through Karen Parkman. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? I can't see everybody, so speak up. Okay, if not, Connie, thank you very much. I know that it was a traumatic week down in Grants Pass, and it is the goal of this commission to look at what the situations are and see how much we can remedy and the situation. So anyway, we appreciate that. Okay, next we go to new business, and the first thing we do is to swear in the new commissioners. So what I would like you to do is I will start with Commissioner Beckstead, Commissioner to be, the next 30 seconds. If you could raise your hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
I, Scott Beckstead,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
of the Oregon Racing Commission, upon which I am now about to enter.
on the Oregon Racing Commission, upon which I am about to enter.
Okay, thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, Commissioner to be in for the next 30 seconds. Fowler, if you could also raise your hand. Okay, I state your name,
I, Lindsay Fowler,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Commissioner
of the Oregon Racing Commission,
of the Oregon Racing Commission,
upon which I am now about to enter.
upon which I am now about to enter.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
You are now official. Okay, next thing on the agenda for all of them is the election of new officers. We have elections for vice chair and chair. And so the first thing I would like to do is to entertain a motion to have nominations for chair. I have indicated that I could continue, but we need a nomination for the chair of the Racing Commission, the term from October 2023 to December of 2024.
Commissioner, I believe you should be nominated for chair and would be happy to move if a motion is so required so that we can vote on it.
Okay, thank you. I do think that a motion is in order on this one.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, that was the second. I guess before I did that, I should have said, are there any other nominees?
We took care of that.
Okay, okay, seeing none, we need affirmation. Could you please, commissioners, approve the amendment or approve the motion to have Commissioner Doherty become chair of the Racing Commission? Please say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. We have a new chair. And as new chair, I would like to entertain motion for vice chair of the commission. Do we have any nominees? Because I would like to actually nominate Commissioner Berry, if Commissioner Berry accepts.
If that's a motion, I would second it if he so wishes to accept that charge. If a motion is, then I'll move and someone can second.
I'd be very honored.
Okay, thank you. So there's a motion to nominate Commissioner Quinn Berry. Is there a second?
So is it my motion?
It is your motion. Sorry, Commissioner Conte has a motion to nominate Commissioner Berry as vice chair of the Oregon Racing Commission.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Beckstead, Commissioner Beckstead. Okay, any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, we'll vote on the proposed motion. All those in favor of Commissioner Berry being vice chair, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, congratulations. We now have commissioners and we have officers, and it's nice to have a full slate of commissioners. It's been a little bit since we've had that. So thank you very much. Along with that, and I communicated with the commissioners, we do have 4 committees that we deal with. And so what I did was assign certain people to committees, and the committee not only has members of the commission, but they also have members of the Oregon Racing Commission staff and so on. And so what we appointed is the Medication and Safety Commission, Commissioners Berry and Fowler, the Advanced Deposit Wagering or ADM. I appointed Commissioner Condi. Finance and Budget, I nominated myself, and Best Practices and Strategy Planning Commission, Commissioner Beckstead. And so I don't know if we need to approve those. Connie, do we need to do that?
I don't remember in the past us doing that, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay,
I
Well,
agree.
okay. So is there a motion to accept these committee positions?
I'll make a
Motion.
motion to accept the committee positions.
Okay, Commissioner Berry motions. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Beckstead seconds. All those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. Okay, we're going right along. The next thing on the agenda is the tribal relations update. Mr. Lloyd.
First of all, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Doherty. I get to say it for the first time. Vice
Okay.
Chair Berry and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Micah Lloyd. I am the Director of Mutuals and Designated Tribal Liaison for the Oregon Racing Commission. Today, I would like to provide a review on this agency's tribal relations over the past year. First, a brief history. The Legislative Commission on Indian Services was created in 1975 by statute to support Oregon Indians and state government when their interests and work affect each other. 6 state tribal groups were established as an outcome of the first annual LCIS summit in 1997 to improve communication between the state agencies and tribes. The Oregon Racing Commission regularly attends and participates in the Economic Development and Community Services Cluster, as well as the quarterly Legislative Commission on Indian Services meetings. We also will be attending in person this December, the annual Tribal State Government to Government Summit. In June of 2022, the ORC adopted the policy on consultation with the tribes, where it outlined its commitment to building and maintaining strong government-to-government relationships with Oregon's 9 federally recognized tribes. Within that policy, which is published on the ORC's website, the executive director and the director of mutuals were the 2 roles identified as responsible for developing and implementing programs of the ORC that affect tribes. ORC is committed to continuously improve communication between the agency and tribal representatives. Our goal is to understand tribal concerns, priorities, and interests related to racing activities in the state, with an eye towards exploring opportunities for greater partnerships and collaboration. This is an ongoing and continuous process. The ORC continues to proactively reach out to each tribe to share upcoming actions or rule changes that tribes may want to consult and present their position. All 9 tribes were invited to appoint official representatives for both fiscal impact and advisory committee meetings previously noted. Most recently, the ORC reached out to all 9 tribes regarding Oregon administrative rule changes to include the ability to review advanced deposit wagering licensees to ensure that their offerings do not conflict with Oregon's constitution and statutes. This is an ongoing process, and we have received some initial feedback. I would like to thank Cow Creek Tribe for meeting us on more than one occasion to discuss ongoing communication and future endeavors. We welcome the opportunity to extend similar discussions with all tribes and will continue to proactively reach out to them. Staff education is a continuing process. This year, each ORC staff member spent time learning about the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, who are located near Pendleton, Oregon, and have lived on their land for more than 10,000 years. All permanent staff and all but 1 seasonal staff have completed this year's educational overview. Lastly, design work has commenced on the ORC's Tribal Relations webpage, which will be incorporated into our official website. I anticipate having the initial offering completed, reviewed, and published before the end of the year. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of Mr. Lloyd's report? Okay, either raise your hand or actually, if people do have questions, they can go to the raising hand thing in the chat. But if there aren't any questions, we will move on. Thank you very much for the report and for working with the tribes on these very important issues. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the Fair Meats report, Fair Meat. And the first one is Eastern Oregon Livestock Report. And I'm not quite sure who is doing that. So if they could speak up.
Do we have a representative from the Eastern Oregon Livestock? Nate, is Nate on? I don't see that Nate's on. We may have to go on to the next one.
Okay, well, we will put that on that next month's agenda. The next one is Crooked River Roundup Meat Report. Is Mr.
Hi,
Smith?
I'm
do you
Doug Smith. And Chair Doherty, Vice Chair Barry, and other commissioners. First of all, let me apologize. I sent in a report to the commission. Unfortunately, somewhere while I was clicking on the report, I sent in the 2019 report that was a file in here, and it's slightly outdated as of this time. So I have forwarded to Executive Director Nguyen the current report, and I will cover it in depth. First of all, I want to start the report.
Excuse me just a moment, Mr. Smith, if you could introduce yourself for the record.
Okay, my name is Doug Smith. I'm Director of Racing at the Crooked River Roundup in Prineville, and served in that position for somewhere around 40 years.
Thank
So-
you.
I'll start the report by saying that horse racing is alive and well at the Crooked River Roundup in Prineville. During the race meet on July 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th of this year, we had record attendance, large handles on all 4 nights of racing. The crowd was enthusiastic and left after having a good time. The most important part is that we ran a safe race meet with no injuries reported from our jockey colony or no horses requiring transportation of any sort from the racetrack. Safety is a top goal, and we are proud of this accomplishment. The work in the off-season by our racing partners to allow the commission to support us with a $4,000 minimum purse in support of the HBPBA and Oregon Quarter Horse Racing Association allowed us to run a bottom purse of $6,500 in Prineville this year. Feature races were ran at higher purse levels and created an exciting environment at Prineville. It felt good to know that horsemen and riders had a very good chance of making a little income during the 4 days of Prineville. While we don't have exact attendance numbers to share, we do have approximate numbers, and based on the crowd and number of paid attendees. If we add them all together and we see that about 23,000 people in our facility over 4 nights of racing. Yes, our grandstand is full, and our other facilities are nearing capacity. So our work in the off season will be, how can we create more space for more attendees to allow our races to grow to even greater levels. In support of the efforts to keep our racetrack as safe as possible, the Crooked River Roundup had the entire facility leveled and added in the area of 30,000 yards of new soil to the track and arena. This allowed the area to be leveled at the start of all the summer events at the Crook County Fairgrounds. And then with minimal work, we had a absolute level surface to start our race meet with. In the past, we've had to move substantial amount of dirt and soil around to accomplish a smooth racing surface. That effort required about $36,000 of investment on behalf of the Crooked River Roundup. With higher purses, we anticipated more horses than in the past. And in the early spring, the Crooked River Roundup agreed to purchase and install 20 new horse stalls. While we did not get them completed in time to use for the 2023 race meet, they are now, as of last night, complete and will be able to support our efforts in 2024. The cost of these stalls and built with volunteer help was $48,000, not counting labor. They are nice and will be an asset for many years to come. With them, that gives the Crooked River Roundup 283 stalls available for horse racing in Prineville. We're serious about getting bigger. We're serious about doing a better job. And I think that what we've been doing as far as investments in horse racing shows that. So let's take a look at the actual races that we ran in Prineville in 2023. On Wednesday, we ran 8 races, 3/4 horses that averaged 6.3 horses per gate. We have an 8-horse gate. 5 thoroughbred races that averaged 6.2 horses. Our purses were totaled $52,000, and our handle was $61,676 for that night. On Thursday, we ran 3 quarter horses, averaging 7.6 starters per gate. 5 thoroughbreds, averaging 5 horses per start, or 5 starters. Again, $52,000 in purses, and our handle was $54,291. On Friday, we ran 9 races. 5 quarter horse races, averaging 6.4 horses per gate, and 4 thoroughbred races, averaging 5.25 horses per gate. Purses were $65,000, and the handle was $86,613. And then Saturday, we ran 10 races, 4 quarter horses, averaging 7 starters per race. 5 thoroughbreds, averaging 5.6 starters per race, and 1 mixed breed that had 6 starters. Total purses on Saturday night were $87,400, and our handle was $94,098. So for the total of the meet, we gave away $256,400 in purses, and our handle was $296,678. And again, our estimated attendance was in the neighborhood of 23,000. So as you can see, horse racing is alive and well in Prineville, Oregon. We want to thank the commission who supported our meet with $4,000 per race, with an initial investment in the amount of $144,000 for 36 races. We only ran 35 races and have worked with the commission staff to return the $4,000 that was allocated for the race that we did not run. The Oregon Quarter Horse Racing Association supported our race with $1,000 for overnight races and additional support for our bonus challenge, futurity, and SOSA stakes. The OHBPA supported our race meet with $1,000 for all overnight races. And the Oregon Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Association provided an incentive for Oregon bred exclusive races, but while offered every day, none filled, and so we ended up using none of their funding. The Crooked River Roundup horsemen and local supporters provided $52,400 in additional purse support, or an average of $1,497.14 per race. So that's in addition to the money from the horsemen's groups, and in addition to the money from the hub. In 2023, the Crooked River Roundup started using FastBet Mobile, which is a secure internet application that allows patrons on the race course to wager over our Wi-Fi system on their smartphones. Again, it is limited to our Wi-Fi signal, so it's geofenced. No one outside of our fairgrounds can use it. And it really has started to, we started off with like $600 the first night, and we're up to $5,000 or $6,000 a night. So 0.5% of our total wager by the time we got to the end of Saturday night. It grew every night. The users had nothing but praise for it, and we can believe it will grow substantially as our group of not only mutual help, but our patrons become more familiar with it. It's used at the Miles City Bucking Horse Sale in Montana. I've been in direct conversation with their mutuals manager several times, and they're up to about 35% of their total wagering now is done over FastBet Mobile. And of course, that eliminates people standing in line. And in our case, it eliminates people not being afraid of not wagering, because when they get up out of their seats, somebody else takes them, because we have more patrons than we have seating. And so it really, I think, is a way of the future. We'll be working this year. We limited because we can geofence it, we limited it to those accessing the Wi-Fi in our grandstand area. And we will be working with commission staff over the winter to try to figure out if we can allow that geofence to be expanded so people in the barn area don't have to come into the grandstand area to place their bets, such as horsemen and horsemen, grooms, exercise riders, whatever, that are down in the barn area. So we'll be working on that. And again, the expectation is that the more we can make it easy for people to wager on our races in Prineville, the better it is for all parties concerned. Looking forward to 2024. So items we look at for 2024, and I'll start by saying on Friday this year, between the entries closing and the start of the draw, we had about 50 horsemen join us on the racetrack to pick stones off the surface. It isn't a terrible, the stones are small, it isn't terrible, but they're there and they need to be removed. So one of the things we're working at is for 2024, we would like to have a rock picker that we purchase and we have, so that we can the one we're looking at will go 6 inches into the soil. It's slow. It's not something we would run every day, but something that we could go into the facility and clean the stones out of early in the season, realizing that anything that affects how a horse puts down its foot is a potential hazard. And so we're working on trying to come up with funding. We know that the machine that we're looking at costs $43,000 delivered to Central Oregon. So that's something that's on our radar. We're actively working on it, and we'll be talking to some of our partners in horse racing about potentially helping us with some of the funding. The next thing that we're going to talk about is absolutely exciting. We operate currently with a jocks room that is 40 feet long and 10 feet wide. And in that, it has restrooms and dressing rooms and showers and a central area that was supposed to allow us to have meetings with the jockeys, but because it's 10 by 12, you can't get many jockeys in it. Our county fairgrounds has obtained a grant that will be funded this project with $277,000 of state money. We have agreed from the roundup to add some funding to it. And as of yesterday, I was told that it will be built and complete in time for the 2024 Crooked River Roundup. That also means we're going to have to rebuild our paddock. So if anybody has any ideas how you would like to see changes to our paddock area, we're more than welcome to listen at this time, and because that's going to be a spring project for us is somehow rebuilding our paddock area. But if you've been down to Prineville and you've been in our jockeys room, you understand how come we're a little bit excited about having an area that's going. The plans currently show restrooms on both ends and a 30 by 30 area in the center, so that the stewards or whoever needs to talk to jockeys, they can now do so inside, out of the public's view. We also are expanding our professional staff from a part-time manager to a basically full-time general manager to work on both rodeo and the race meets. We've hired a person that previously served on our board named Ann Fisher, and I look forward to her joining us for some of the monthly racing group meetings that we will start back up in November. And hopefully she will be able to gain knowledge of the tote, jockeys insurance and transportation agreements that we have going on. So I'm very, very excited about how 2023 went. I look forward to 2024. I know there's going to be challenges, but I trust those involved in Oregon racing will find a very, very exciting way forward, because I think that's what we're doing. I think, you know, I'm a rancher and a cattleman, and it's interesting because when I set my plan for the next year, one of the people I consult with is my veterinarian. And it's important to understand that as you go into horse racing, right, some of the biggest, the people that use the horses can learn a lot from the veterinarians, and I partnered very strongly with Dr. Everman, and many of the veterinarians that came before him. As I said earlier, I've been around a long time, so I could probably name quite a few of the previous state veterinarians. I've seen what causes catastrophic injury, and we always work, to get rid of it. It's interesting that in the last 5 years, I think we lost one horse in Prineville, and it was an upper shoulder injury. And I've had a hard time understanding how that one went back to the track, what we could have done to solve it. But we're always open to those kinds of discussions, because there's nothing. Some of my best friends are horses. I hate to ever see anything happen to one of them. So I'm open for questions. I'd love to spend the afternoon talking to you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions of Mr. Smith? Okay,
I
very,
just
very,
like to say that his enthusiasm for racing is infectious. It's really nice to hear him speak about something he obviously loves so much.
okay, great. Commissioner Beckstead?
No, I just want to thank you for that report, and I look forward to getting to know you better. And I hope to be able to make a trip out there and watch some races and get to know you better.
Okay, great.
And,
Thank
and, and like you, some of my best friends in my whole life have been horses, so I appreciated that remark.
So Commissioner Beckstead, I will tell you that where my cows run in the summer, I happened to see, I noticed in your bio delivered by Executive Director Wynn that you're involved with wild horses. I happen to know where there's 130 of them that I see twice a week when I'm going up to check my cows. There's only supposed to be 53, but there's 130.
Well, I'd love to have a guided tour to go see those beauties myself.
I'd love to take you. Don't do it during race week though. Come over earlier.
Will do.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Smith, thank you so very much for your report. We appreciate it. Next thing on the agenda, we have a report from the Tillamook County Fair. Do we have the person here from the fair?
Yes, good afternoon, commissioners. This is Cammie Von Sager, and I am the fair director here in Tillamook.
Thank you.
And I always say next time I have to put me before Doug, because I just don't really know how to even follow that. So we will do our best to entertain you. So I probably will be joined today by my racing director, Steve Smith, and he will be able to fill you in on a lot of the details. Some of you were here at the Tillamook County Fair race meet, and I was not able to get out of my office at all 4 days to come out and join you. However, we did get quite a bit of correspondence from a lot of our race bettors that they really enjoyed themselves this year with some full fields, great racing. And it's always nice to hear from people that come from outside of our area to get a good perspective on what we're doing and what we're trying to offer. I'll just start out by saying that the Tillamook County Fair is a little bit unique, that we have our horse racing during our fair, our 4 days. We run from August 7th through the 10th. It's a 4-day meet. We have 33 races total. We tried this year, we succeeded in running our 8-day races on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 races on Saturday. Saturday is our largest attendance of the fair in general. We average about 43,000 people over the course of the 4 days. In retrospect, we don't really go by our attendance numbers. We try to look at what kind of economic impact that we have in our community, what we're providing for our community, what we're providing for our fans. Horse racing to us is another form of entertainment. People come for a lot of different reasons, but they know that the Tillamook County Fair will have live horse racing. So we get a lot of people who are interested in that for sure. We, again, would appreciate everything that the Racing Commission has done for us and the collaboration in all of the fair meets. Having those monthly meetings is just a lifesaver, right? We all are like-minded and we're thinking on the same lines. How do we streamline our processes? We have gained a lot here in Tillamook based on Grants Pass and Prineville. We've been able to hear and learn about pitfalls that happen with everyone and try to eliminate that when it comes to Tillamook. So we're kind of that next to the last race meet. And so it really helps on having that collaboration with the Racing Commission and all of the information sharing that we get on those meetings. So we appreciate that in the long term. We, again, as Doug mentioned, having that $4,000 contribution as our purse base is huge. Tillamook, we've never had such large purses as we've had in the last couple of years. And this year, exclusively, I would say, it really played a big part in our handle. And excuse me, that added contribution of the $8,000 match money is wonderful. We have 12 different organizations, families, businesses that contribute about $12,000, $13,000 in our feature races. And that just comes right out of our community and the love for the sport. So that money added to our Oregon Quarter Horse Racing Association this year provided us with another $1,000 for quarter horse races on top of 2 futurities that they ponied up, $5,000 each. So those were some of our largest racing days that I think I can remember here in Tillamook. So we were super excited to have those numbers well over $10,000, $11,000 purses. The Oregon Thoroughbred Association also contributed $1,000 to each of the thoroughbred races. And then they also did a feature race of $1,000 added. So with that all combined, we had a very successful race meet. I will let Steve, who is on the line, go ahead and tell you a little bit more about all of the particulars of the race day, how we did on our handle daily, some of the averages. And then if you have questions, I'll be available as well.
Okay, thank you. We'll hear from him and then we'll ask questions. So, this person on the line.
Rich
let's-
is one of the dial in.
Let's hope he can get away from his golf game to answer these questions. But if not, I can fill in minor details, mind you. I am not the boots on the ground, although I do have a pretty good handle on what's going on. But let me see if I can raise him on as well. While I'm trying to get a hold of him, I will just let you know. So something that we did prior to our fair meet, I'll talk to you about our track maintenance, the things that we kind of are required to do, and look forward to getting input from the Racing Commission and other people who have helped us out with our track. So couple years ago, we did a major overhaul of our track. It was completely regraded, completely kind of redesigned with the way that the slant of that happens. We had proper drainage. We had drainage systems put in over the last few years. So this year, we really didn't have a whole lot to do other than just regular maintenance. We did go ahead and regrade slightly. We did make sure that our drainage ditches on the inside rail were done. We kind of had a 5 to 10 year plan on adding footing to the track itself. So this year we added just a little bit of sand, not a lot, but just a little bit. Every year we're trying to add back a little bit and get down to that, 6-8 inches to have some proper footing. So that was done. We did not have Steve Woods come out and inspect the track this year. He was ill at the time and was not able to make it to Tillamook. But we did have, I believe, Mike Twiggs was here. He did take a peek at that. Again, and the track and the footing looked good. We hire someone who comes in from Salem to run our track and remove rocks. And he brings in his rock picker. And that's been really successful. It's a great partnership that we have with him. He comes up from the valley when he's not farming to handle that. And so that's something that's we will continue with as well. And we now have a partner in Yamhill County at the Yamhill County Fairgrounds. They also have a rock picker that we can borrow if we needed to in a pinch once the race meets actually start. If we recognize anything after it was inspected and then before the race meet, we have that on site that we can use. We also are looking at purchasing, which Doug, I know you probably have already done this, but we're looking at purchasing some magnets that we can actually tow around the track, and then our actual riding arena, which is connected to that as well, to remove any additional debris that might be left in there or just worked up in the normal routine of grooming. Mm-hmm. So those are some of the things that we've done. Annual inspection of our gate is done. Didn't have any major deficiencies in that, just some minor things with padding and greasing and making sure everything is operable to make sure that we have the safest conditions possible during starting. Making sure that we had fully charged batteries, backups, and making sure those are turned off and on appropriately so that there were no missteps in getting the races started this year. And then the last and final thing, which I think was our most work that we needed to accomplish, was the inspection of the rail, made out of aluminum piping, always taped and wrapped so that it's the safest it can be. But we did find that we had a few corners that had some sharp angles. So we did a reconfiguration of that and made sure that all of those deficiencies were kind of taken care of well before the race meet. Actually, we had that done prior to horses coming in from Prineville, so that it was ready to go before anybody stepped foot on the track. So I think with that, I will see. Did Steve join us?
So Cammie?
Yeah.
Cammie, this is Doug. And I just want to let you know that I talked to Steve Smith and he's on the Zoom call, but he cannot, you can't hear him talk. It's not picking up. It's like it's muted. And he got your call and had the same problem. He could hear you talking on the Zoom, but he couldn't communicate back through. So he is on the call.
I would suggest, since he cannot verbally do it, is that you just put his report in writing and get it to Director Wynn, so we can see if we have any questions next meeting. Okay,
yes, I apologize. Yes, and I do have that available. A lot of probably what Steve was going to say, and I know he sent me a few emails back and forth, was I'll just tell you. So we had about 220 horses on the grounds this year, which is a great number for us. We had about 10 additional ponies. Steve did a great job in getting help in making sure that we had all of our people ready to go for the race meet. All of our gate crew, all of our, pony girls in the morning, all of our people that we need. So I appreciate that. we had a total of 21 thoroughbred races for this year. He says that we had 108 starters with an average field of 5.4. For quarter horses, we had a total of 12 races with 74 starters and an average field of 6.16. For Tillamook, I would say that those are really great numbers. We were very thankful to have our races be able to go with, filling each of those spots and having enough horses on the grounds in case there were scratches or some of the reason why they couldn't run. I know that it makes a big difference in the handle. I do not have numbers on our jockeys, the number of jockeys. I know that we had plenty this year. I know last year we had 9. I want to say that's about what we had this year, but I will formalize that once we get those numbers. Again, our handle, we had a total of hold on one second, $157,395 this year. We had a all-time record on Saturday, our highest handle ever for a Saturday, which was 57,300. Looking back, this total is within our top 5 of our all-time records. So we're only looking to have our handle increase. We do have 12 machines. 3 of them, in addition to that, are self-serve. And those were all very popular. People do enjoy being able to just go and do their own thing, and they don't really necessarily need the chit chat. We do not have lines like they do in Prineville. All of our people are able to get in, get their bets done, and get back before the starting of the race. We do have plenty of personnel to handle the amount of people that we have. So that's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's really it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Okay, very thorough report. We appreciate that. And I was out in Tillamook, and it was a rather hot day that day, as I recall. So anyway, it was good. Commissioner Fowler, did you have your hand up? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And for all of you that work the fairs, they were very successful. The next thing on our agenda, and I'm going to have Connie very, very briefly explain what hub funds are, since we have so many new commissioners. But it is the Oregon Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Association hub fund report. So we'll be doing that after Connie just very, very briefly explained what a hub fund is.
Great. Thank you, Chair Doherty. So what the hub funds are is, I think most of you know that we license multi-jurisdictional account wagering hubs here, or what we call ADWs. These companies come to us because we have primacy in the industry, and we are considered the gold standard for licensing and regulating these companies. The company's licensing fees that they pay and fees on their handle, the money that we receive from that, 2/3 of that is set up, or I'm sorry, 3/4 of that is set up for distribution to the industry, in support of the industry, to ensure successful race meets. And of course, we use a lot of that for safety, such as jock insurance and supporting the tracks in other ways that we can. So that is what a hub fund is. And those funds are distributed through an application process, on a biannual process. We assess the applications, and then the funds are distributed twice annually after they've been allocated.
Okay, thank you so very much for the explanation. Next thing on the agenda is the Oregon Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Hub Fund report, and all of you should have received the report. Is there a person that is over this?
Yes, thank you, Chair Doherty.
Yeah, there's no action on this. It's just a report. It's a report.
Correct. Thank you, Chair Doherty. Good afternoon. I'm Linnell Fox Smith. I'm the Executive Director for the Oregon Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders Association.
Welcome.
And since there are new commissioners, I would like to take just a brief moment to give you an overview of the Oregon Thoroughbred Owners and Breeders, so you're more familiar with who we are. The OTOBA, as we're referred to, was established in 1944. with the purpose of strengthening thoroughbred breeding in Oregon. And our bylaws and our articles of incorporation define how we are to do that. We offer purse supplements and breeders awards for Oregon bred thoroughbreds. We provide incentives to encourage the importation of brood mares and stallions to Oregon for breeding. And we support various equestrian disciplines. Our focus has primarily been on racing because that is where our revenue is derived from. But we try to sponsor as many equestrian events and reach out to that area as well. And certainly our foal incentive encompasses equestrian thoroughbreds as well, because you just can't predict what a new foal is going to be in the future. And they could be a broodmare or stallion to a racehorse, if not a racehorse themselves. We are a 501c5 membership association, and owners and breeders of Oregon breds reside across 85% of the counties in Oregon, where they contribute to agriculture and rural communities. We are active at the county fair race meets and the commercial meet. And if you would like any additional information on our association, feel free to reach out to me at any time. We also have a website, OregonToba.com, and you can sign up there for our e-newsletter, which we send out regularly to update you on what we're doing and what's happening in racing in Oregon. So for the hub report, you have copies of that, so I won't read everything, but I'll hit the highlights for the record. So for the 21-23 biennium, which ended June 30th, we received a total of $357,000, and we spent $366,073, which was an overrun of over $9,000 that we covered with our administrative funds. All of these programs are long-time programs and incentives that we have offered for many years, and if not decades. In fact, the purse supplements and the Breeders' Awards have been offered since our inception nearly 80 years ago. We prioritize offering programs that will benefit owners and breeders here in Oregon, and that they will support with those funds their local communities. I would like to point out that the hub allocation is our only resource for these programs and incentives. In many years ago, there was enough handle generated and our portion covered these, but that's not true anymore. So we are completely reliant on the hub funds for these programs, and we are very grateful to the Oregon Racing Commission for your continued support of Oregon breeders. I also included a summary of the current biennium. This is just for information. It's not the formal report yet. For the current biennium, we were approved for $281,847.80. That is a decline or decrease of $75,000. So we've had to reduce our programs. We've had to eliminate some. Under the foal incentive, we eliminated the broodmare and stallion incentives. And we will continue to evaluate as we go through the biennium if we have to make any more adjustments. So far, we have received $113,139, and we have spent $85,597. The remaining funds will cover the Breeders' Awards for the Grants Pass meet that just concluded, and the rest will then roll into the 2024 fair meets that begin next spring and summer. And that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much for the report. Are there any questions for the thoroughbreds? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Linnell, thank you so much for your report. Two questions. Number one, does Otoba have any programs for developing second careers or retirement programs for retired racers? And second, does Otoba have any sort of policy on the sale of retired racers into the horse slaughter pipeline?
Thank you for your question, Commissioner. No, we do not have a formal program. That is just due to lack of funding. We do have, we reach out to people when we can. We have links on our website to various programs across the country that people can use. And no, we don't have anything that would address your second question.
Okay.
Thank you, Linnell.
Mhm.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much for your report. Very thorough, we appreciate it, and hopefully things will get a little bit better, money-wise. Okay, the next thing, the agenda, we've got actually two action item. Well, next thing we have is the approval of the legislatively adopted budget. Connie, I assume that's you?
Actually, I'm gonna let Karen present on that,
Okay.
since she's done so much work on it. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. And I guess my question, do we need a motion on this when it's done, or is this for more for information?
No, we'll need a motion.
Thank you.
So the legislatively approved budget, Chair Doherty, commissioners, wasn't quite prepared to be presenting, but I'll do the best I can, so bear with me.
And just identify yourself for the record, please.
Karen Parkman, I'm the program coordinator for the Oregon Racing Commission. So the legislatively approved budget is basically the same budget all the way through. So it starts out as the agency request budget that gets brought into the governor's balanced budget, that goes through the legislative process where it's presented at the legislature and then gets passed by the Senate and the House, and then we build the legislatively approved budget from all those same documents, except for the audit reports that come out of the state financial system we can't really change those. So they come through. If there are changes, we will change those in the next session. So anything that may not have materialized between the governor's balanced budget and the legislatively approved budget, like our CFO had a minor adjustment where she's reduced some funds that will go to the associations, our hub funds. So those kinds of adjustments might happen in the between the governor's balanced budget and the legislatively approved budget, which they did this year. And then if there's another note or something else that has to be adjusted, that will happen in the session that comes in February. So what you're approving today is really just the official stamp of approval that we've gone through the process, that you recognize that this has been legislatively adopted by our Oregon legislature, and we're actively using this budget right now. And once that's approved through the vote that you would take, it's same as any other vote, it'll get sent to our CFO and LFO, and the budget process is done. Woohoo! And then we'll start in just probably another month on the
Yeah,
next
you'll start again.
cycle.
Okay, any questions of Karen? We
Good job,
appreciate it.
Karen.
Pardon?
I just threw in a good job, Karen.
Yeah, very good job. We appreciate that. And so with this is, and the whole thing is that it's already been legislatively approved. It's just kind of our stamp saying, yes, we have seen it and so on. So I entertain a motion to approve the legislatively adopted budget.
So move.
Okay, Commissioner Conte moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and Commissioner Fowler seconds. Okay, any questions? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that we have approved the legislatively adopted budget. Okay, the next items we have, and you receive these in your packet, and I would assume that we also need to approve these, and it's the review and possible approval of the following plans and policies. And so the first one is the Oregon Racing Commission language policy. If you would like to go through, and do we need to deal with that, Director?
Chair, for the record, this is Connie Nguyen from the Oregon Racing Commission. Let me just give you a brief summary of all of these, and then you can decide what and how you want to do. The opportunity here is for you to ask any questions or give any input if you have any specific on these. These are all living, breathing documents and will change on an ongoing basis, but those are our official policies. I want to thank Karen Parkman for doing the work on the language policy. We felt that was an important policy to have within the Racing Commission because we do serve so many populations, especially on the backside of the racing. We have a lot of Latinos. So that initiative is to make sure that we have everything available in languages that are necessary to serve our constituents. The other two policies are from the entire commission. One is the COOP plan, which is the ability to continuation of operations, thank you, plan, which if something, let's say a terrible virus happened, I don't know, and we had to react to them, this is a formal plan. It's very much like a disaster recovery plan, but it has a few more details on it, perhaps, as well as identifying every position's replacements and how we would manage in a number of different kind of emergencies. Again, just like everything, as we learn more in life, these can and will continue to change. And the last is our diversity, equity, and inclusion plan, which is brand new for our agency. We hadn't had one before. We, of course, have always had a diversity plan, but not a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan. We have a dedicated committee for that now, and they will meet on a regular basis to continue to develop more ways to include diversity, equity, and inclusion within our organization, as well as providing training and feedback for the rest of the members. So I only ask if you have any questions, and then if you approve them as are, that's fine. If you have any recommendations, we will certainly implement those.
Okay, are there any questions of Director Nguyen? Because hopefully we all read those, and I looked at them and they were very detailed policies, and I thought policies that are in some instances well overdue. And so I'm glad that they were put in, especially with the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I did not have any questions. There was one misspelling. My former English teacher's coming out in me, and there was one misspelling, but I can't remember what it was.
I'll find it. I
Yeah,
will
we'll
find it.
But I circled it just as I used to do. So any other questions for Director Nguyen on these? Can't see Commissioner Berry. Okay, if not, I think I'll take these one by one. I think it's important to have approval because it just shows that the commission backs the ideas behind these policies that will continue to be working. So the first one was the Oregon Racing Commission language policy, which I thought was an excellent one, and maybe down the road we'll be adding other languages. But I entertain a motion to accept the ORC language policy.
I'll make a motion to accept the ORC language policy.
Okay, Commissioner Berry presents that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
Okay, and Commissioner Conte seconds it. Is there any discussion? Okay, if not, all those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
See,
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. The second one is the ORC Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan. Is there a motion to accept that plan as presented?
I'll move to accept the diversity, equity, and inclusion plan.
Okay, Commissioner Beckstead moves to accept the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner Fowler seconds. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it is unanimous. And then the last one is the ORC continuation of operation plan. So if we have zombie attacks or anything else, or we will be able to function as a commission. I did have some middle school kids ask me how the state is protecting them from zombies, so this just kind of adds to it.
Thank goodness there will be horse racing in the zombie apocalypse, Margaret.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, is there a motion to accept the continuation of operation plan?
I'll move.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second Ben.
Commissioner Conte moves and Commissioner Barry seconds. All those in favor of accepting the continuation of operation plan, please raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it is unanimous. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is public comment. Is there any public comment? And hopefully I'll be able to see you all. You raise your hand or speak up.
Madam Chair, this is Cammie from the Tillamook County Fairgrounds,
Oh, thank you.
if I may.
Yes.
I
thank
hope
you,
this is a
Lloyd, for doing that.
hopefully this is a good time. I did just want to make you aware. So I am the vice president of the Oregon Fairs Association, and we just had our annual convention in October. We were not able to provide a space or a time for the commission to and the fairs meet to come over and meet, which we normally would do during our convention. So I would like to let you know that it will be hosted in Deschutes County at the Deschutes County Fair and Expo next year. It should be the second week in October. And perhaps that might be, we can coincide that with your general meeting. So not sure, but I wanted to give you plenty enough time to discuss that. I think it's really important for us to continue that with the Oregon Fairs Association and all of our partners. And I think that the people who are at our fairs that don't have a race meet, it's good for them to know what it is that we're doing. And we normally will also have a legislative piece during that convention as well, just like we did this year.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. It gives us plenty of time to plan for that, but
Thank you.
the fairs, the county fairs and the racing do go hand in hand. Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. Lloyd, if you see anybody on there. Okay, thank you very much. We do appreciate you all being here and being part of the meeting today. We have apparently no contested cases. And so before adjournment, the last thing on the agenda is the next commission meeting is scheduled for November 16th, 2023 via Zoom. And so we will have that. And with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Chair.
Okay, Commissioner Barry brings forth a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the Commissioner Beckstead is a second. All those in favor of adjournment, raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, aye. And so the meeting is adjourned, and I appreciate your participation and your questions, and most importantly, being able to give the time to the people in the state of Oregon on a commission. It's something that a lot of people don't realize how much time it does take, but we do appreciate you getting involved. So thank you very much. And we'll be in touch. We'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Fair.